This is one of the videos in my recovery series, which is a porn recovery series. I run support groups for guys struggling with porn. I do some recovery coaching and counseling and stuff for guys in that area. But there's an illustration that has really come to life. And I've talked about it before in a different video, but I've added to it in really cool ways, and I think it's added a lot to it. So I wanted to change and shift and just give you an insight on that. See, I believe that every man, woman and child, whatever, but for us, every one of us has been given this plot of land that God wants us to build our life on. He's given us this gift. Here's your place. Here's your life. Here's your calling. Here's what I want for you. And He's actually poured in this foundation for many of us, right? Because we know who God is and we love Him. And we know that He has a plan for us. So we've decided, yeah, let's pour that foundation. We have it. But when we struggle with porn and lust, or acting out sexually, it's like we are now living on that slab of concrete inside a cardboard box. We're stuck in it. And so we've got prostitutes coming and whispering in our ear, offering us stuff. And it's really hard to say no, right? Because they can just push through that box, cut through it, or come through the opening of the box. Maybe you've got people trying to steal things from you. Any number of vagrants and stuff can get to you inside that cardboard box. You're not protected. So the devil's harping on you. Things aren't going right. It's hard. But here's the thing. Most guys, when they figure out and realize, no, I don't like this cardboard box. I recognize this plot of land is something that God's given me. They come out of that box with a butter knife. And they decide, I'm going to protect this plot of land. I'm going to protect my box with this butter knife. So they start going on the offensive, and they attack the temptation. So the equivalent of whatever, the prostitutes and the vagrants and the guys trying to steal things from them and hurt them or abuse them or whatever. And they're trying to ward them all off with this butter knife. Incredible waste of energy. So all their energy is going into this fight, and it's not getting them anywhere. Because what do they need to do? They need to start building this house. They need to start putting up the 2x4s, the sheeting, the doors, the electrical. They got to build this house that God's blessed them with. But they can't do it because they're so distracted with fighting off these temptations, these issues, with the equivalent of a butter knife that just does not work. And so we encourage them to build this, to rent this fence. Now when I say there's a rented fence, it's because we need help. Okay? So when we've struggled with porn or lust or whatever and acting out, we need to put up a rent fence around this chunk of land. Now, you've seen those around construction sites, I think, but regardless, if you haven't, you can actually buy these kind of chain link fence things, or rent them anyway, that go around these construction sites where they're building condos or whatever else they're building to protect and guard from people just hopping in and taking whatever they want. So we do this. We ask and we invite you in to put up these fences. And these fences in our world are filters, programs, parental controls, maybe sometimes getting a flip phone instead of a smartphone. We do whatever it takes to put up these fences. They're artificial, right? Because they don't belong, they're not natural, they're not part of us. We need help from the outside to make that happen. You need somebody else to put the code on if you want parental controls and stuff. So this fence goes up. Now, you're not fighting off with a butter knife. Now you've got time to look at that 2x4 that just got dropped off from the truck. Pick it up, pick up a hammer, and start putting it in. Build the wall, lift the wall up. You have now got that potential and opportunity to begin building this house. All this temptation, all the issues are now behind that rent fence. You can still see them. You can be lured out if you want to be. You can put a ladder over the fence if you want. But that rent fence is there to be your first line of protection, and you need it there because otherwise it's a ton of wasted effort and energy. That doesn't say that you can never build that house on your own without it, but man alive, it's going to take you way, way longer. So and eventually that rent fence goes away because you get stronger, you built your house, now there's a door, and any temptation has to walk up your path, knock on your door, and has to be invited into your house. Because you've got now a picket fence, a white picket fence with a gate on it, right? And so we don't need to worry about the rent fence anymore, eventually. But this is the process. This is the beginning of recognizing what's happening and why the butter knife fight is just not worth it. Because your connection with God, recognition of the blueprints that he's offering you, and all the supplies that he keeps trying to drop off, you haven't even been able to see or recognize because you're so tired from fighting a battle that you weren't designed to fight on your own. Now you got help sometimes. You got community groups. You've got support groups. Those guys come and they help you build this house, recognizing things, helping you ward off temptation, which is accountability. You've got neighbors around you. Maybe some of those neighbors have never struggled with this issue, but they help hold you in line, hold you accountable, and say, hey, I see that. How are you doing with that? How can I help you? It's a beautiful illustration, a beautiful image of what it is like to be in community. On top of that, you're not left alone on that site with just God. But you do have God. And so many of us have forgotten. And we're living in that cardboard box that gets us nowhere. May this illustration bless you. May you be encouraged and equipped to fight a whole new way as you ask God for the blueprints of what he's longed for in your life. Thanks.